Welcome to the next in our Getting Out the Message series. I'm Patrick Malone, and with me today is Towns County Soul Commissioner Cliff Bradshaw. Welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and good morning, everyone.
It's good to have you with us. I wanted to start off and talk about, you got a couple of important issues on the primary ballot. First, the SPLOST issue. Talk a little bit about that, because this is really in essence, a renewal. It's not a new tax, correct?
It's not a new tax. Right now, the Towns County school system has the e-SPLOST, which is the 1% sales tax, and it runs out in, I believe, October.
Right.
And if the voters approve it for the Towns County, then it'll just replace that. The sales tax will stay at 7%. And that's some much needed funds to remodel the courthouse and do some other things in the county.
That's what I wanted you to talk a little bit about. What is the funding? Because it looks like somewhere around 10 to 11 million
They're estimating $12 million.
12 million. Okay.
Yeah.
What will that money be?
Estimate. Yeah.
What will that money go for?
Well, the city of Young Harris would get 9%, which I believe is $1,080,000, and the same for the city of Hiawassee. And then the remainder of the fund would go to the county, and we're going to use the money to remodel the existing courthouse. We do not want to tear it down. We've tore down enough buildings in Towns County over the years, and now we regret doing that. So we want to keep that building and remodel it, and then do an addition on the back of it for courtrooms. We have one courtroom right now, and we need two courtrooms plus a small courtroom for the probate judge. So, and it needs updated. It is 56 years old, and we need central heating and air, and the windows need to be replaced. It just needs remodeled.
And a lot of this is being driven off the judicial system. Has made a request to you to.
They have since the first courts that started coming in. When I became commissioner, the judges would come in and talk to me and ask me what our plans for the courthouse. And I even talked to the former commissioner, about it, and he agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. It needs to be remodeled. We don't even have holding cells for the prisoners. And
I was going to say, that's also a security issue.
Yeah, it's a big security issue, and also fire issue. We don't meet fire code. We have one set of steps in the middle of the building, in the foyer when you come in. So,
Lord, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. What I'm really also glad about is we didn't call an architect to come in and say, what's it going to cost to do this? I did a different approach. We took the total estimated figure that we would collect on that SPLOST tax, which most of our visitors pay that anyway that are, come to visit. But what I did, and I haven't even had time to talk to you about this, but what we did, we took the $12 million, we backed out the 9% for each city that they get, and then we know our road department needs equipment. And it's expensive equipment, dump trucks, all of this stuff's really outdated.
Yeah.
So worked with the road department director, and we determined we needed about $500,000 to bring the road department up to date. And then we're evaluating other departments in the county, what do we need? So the rec department at Foster Park, the former commissioner built that, and it's a beautiful facility, but it's not completely finished, the ball fields, the building is. So we put $140,000 towards the rec department.
Okay.
So anyway, we keep chunking it out, and the time you pay for your bond and attorney fees and architectural fees and all that, we're going to have $8 million to do on the courthouse. So that's when I start calling different architects and meeting with them and talking to them. And I would tell them, we have $8 million to spend. Here's what we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
If you can't do it for that, no problem. We'll call someone else. And actually, we did call other people. And so the one at Clark Lee Patterson we ended up hiring asked me, how did you come up with $8 million? And I told them exactly how we did. And I said, if you can't do what we need done for this, it's no problem. We'll call someone else. And they said, no, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're getting a lot more bang for the buck doing it this way than the approach of, what's it going to cost to do this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because each one told me 10 to 12 million. But Clark Lee Patterson said they can do this for $8 million.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's working within a budget.
Exactly.
You know what you've got to spend.
Exactly.
The other issue that's, I guess, not as much publicity has been around it is the Freeport tax exemption.
Yes, and I saw the sample ballot, and I thought it would be in one question, but it's actually in 3 questions.
Yeah.
And it's a little confusing, and of course with COVID going on, we haven't been able to go and meet with different civic groups as much as we would like to explain it. But the Freeport tax is actually a tax exemption. You know, if you just say Freeport tax, it sounds like another tax, oh my goodness. But it's a tax exemption for companies, manufacturing companies, for their raw materials. Right now, the state requires the county to charge taxes on their raw materials.
Right.
So they would be exempt for that tax up to 12 months. And it actually helps the businesses grow, and it'll help job creation. That's what we're after, is to create more jobs. 93% of the counties in Georgia have some type of Freeport tax. Our surrounding counties in Towns County have Freeport tax, but we don't. So it's just a way to help the manufacturing companies grow. It's a little bit of a burden off them, and they can hire some folks and grow.
Well, it's been a disadvantage then for Towns County not to have this exemption when everybody else in the area has that exemption.
That's exactly right. So if I own a small manufacturing company, maybe I employ 15 or 20 people, and I want to move out of the Atlanta area, and I'm looking at North Georgia, you know, maybe I want to slow my life down but still keep my business going, you're going to look at that. And so when you see that Towns County doesn't have it, well, you're going to look at counties that does have it. So, you know, I hope that the voters understand what it is, and we try to get it out in the newspaper and the county meetings. But it's very important. It will definitely help create some jobs and keep some of our youth here working instead of having to leave the county to find work.
So I know that you can't advocate one way or another. You can only educate about these issues.
Yeah, just educate. Yeah.
On this one, you said there's 3 different questions on the ballot.
There's 3 questions pertaining to the Freeport.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if I wanted to vote in favor of the Freeport, would I answer yes on all 3 questions?
You would on all 3, yes.
Okay, folks, he can't advocate for it, but I certainly can.
Yeah, right.
It's an economic development tool, and it really is at no cost to the taxpayer. And it really does encourage businesses because it gives them their working inventory without sales tax. They do end up paying tax on their finished goods, which is really what you want.
Yeah.
It's an incentive, and I would be advocating for it if I could vote in Towns County.
Right. Well, I'm excited, and I do encourage everybody, if you haven't voted in Towns County and you live in Towns County and you're a registered voter, please make sure Tuesday is the primary. So you need to get out and vote. I don't know how much time we have, but I'm going to mention that too. You have to vote next to the courthouse at the Civic Center. The other precincts are not open. It's all taking place there because of COVID. And we have limited employees to help. So,
Right.
And it is very, very safe. We've got the social distancing. The voting machines are spread way out. They're sanitized stations. It's as safe as you possibly can get. And people have been coming in. The lines haven't been real long. And I think we've got about total, it's over 2,000, 3,000 with absentees turned in and in-person voting. So the numbers are up high. But it's very safe and very simple. I'd say you probably wouldn't be there more than 7 to 10 minutes.
It's good to hear the numbers are up. I saw statewide numbers just recently that there's about 1.1 million between early voting and absentee voting, and that's setting a record between the 2 of those. But we're in these unusual circumstances with COVID-19.
We are.
Speaking of that, one of the things that it's really impacted is the census. You know, this is the time for the 2020 census, and unfortunately this hit right as the census was starting in March, so we've been a little behind.
Yeah, we've been a little behind, and with your help and helping us in Towns County, we're going to get the numbers up. But
well, it doesn't look good.
Yeah,
I'm in charge of the we're behind. So
it's understandable with COVID. We understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things our world's different than what it was. A lot of things, and we're adjusting, right? So, but we appreciate all you can do to help us, and you're doing a good job. There's no doubt about it. So, but I want the folks to understand how important it is that you fill out your census and get that done. I mean, it's federal funding to the state of Georgia. It goes on the population, which trickles down to Towns County. So it's about getting funding. So.
Yeah, and the funding that he's talking about, folks, when he says federal dollars, those are our taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, it's our money
so
back.
It's really getting our fair share of what we've contributed in our tax burden. Just to give you some perspective on where we stand, US-wise, the response rate right now is 60.6%. Georgia is a little bit behind that at 56.8. Towns County's response rate is 44.4, and the two cities in Towns County, Hiawassee is 42%, and Young Harris is 48.8. Over in my county, in Union County, we're at 50.8% response, and Blairsville's at 39.8. So you can see there's a lot of work to be done. If you've already filled out your census, all I can say is thank you. You've done your civic responsibility. But if you haven't done it, it's really simple. There are basically two ways to do it at this point in the census. You can go online, and you don't have to have anything to go online. You don't have to have that number. All you do, go to 2020census.gov, click on Start Questionnaire. You'll get to a point where it asks you for your census number. But right below where you put the number in, there's a line that says, if you do not have a number, click here. Once you click on that, it'll ask for your address, and once you input your address, it'll open up the census questions. So it's simple to do that. The other way you can do it, if you're not comfortable on the computer, there is a phone number. Write this down, 844-330-2020. You can call that number and give your census information over the phone. So there really is no excuse for you not to fill out your census. And as you said, it impacts so many things. Number one, it impacts our congressional districts. There are a number of states that are going to get new congressional districts because of their population increase.
That's exactly right.
So you want to make sure that you're getting represented. Then we're going to go through, once the numbers are out there, we're going to go through redistricting on the state Senate and the state House of Representatives. So it's very important that everybody be counted. So that's what we're working towards.
And it's nothing new, is it, Pat?
No.
You know the history.
There's no, it's been there since, 1780, I believe, was the first census. It is actually part of the Constitution. It's a requirement under the Constitution. It actually is against the law if you don't respond. Although I can tell you that it's been, I think, 1942 was the last time somebody was actually prosecuted for not responding to the census. So you don't have to worry about getting arrested. But it is your civic responsibility to do that.
Yeah, we ask that you all do it, and it's just very important. So
yeah, it has, the time has been extended. We're going to continue the census through the end of October, when in fact it was supposed to shut off at the end of July. But with the COVID-19 pandemic, they've extended the time. In the next 2 weeks, about the middle of this month, the census takers are going to be out knocking on doors of those households that have not responded. So there's another reason to respond before the census taker comes out there. If you don't want a stranger coming to your house and knocking on your door, fill it out online or use the 800 number, the 844 number that I gave you. That's 844-330-2020. So everything else going good in the county?
Everything's going good. I just ask everyone to be safe, continue to practice social distancing. The virus hasn't changed. It isn't gone. We're learning and adapting to live with it the best that we can, but please just be safe. Wear your mask if you can, and keep your hands washed, and just watch your social distancing for sure.
Well, for Commissioner Cliff Bradshaw and I'm Patrick Malone, we want to thank you for visiting and watching this segment of Getting the Message Out.
Thank you very much.